And Isabella Taylor is still with us. And arriving is Helen Glanville. We met the other night. I met Helen. Isabella, you'll be fascinated with this lady. She, like the professor, is most interesting. We met it was an unusual place to... Well, we had met earlier than that.
We had, indeed. Yes.
And that was Sue Redmond's, one of her fantastic dinners.
And I think you were the beast.
Oh, that's right. I was set up as a beast, yes. Well, if the cap fits, wear it. Anyway, this was different. This was a function for showing solidarity to the Israelis.
Correct. And we heard from the Israeli ambassador.
Who was supposed to be there in person, but for security reasons. That's a terrible thing in Adelaide, to find yourself not being able to welcome the ambassador of a friendly nation like Israel, simply because there are elements that don't agree with you having him as a special guest speaker.
Well, the most important thing is he was safe and he was beamed in from Canberra.
Well, that's true. But I think you can't be safe in Australia, particularly in Adelaide. God help the world.
True.
I think we were voted 7th most livable city this year. I think
that's
Melbourne
right.
And
well,
Sydney coming in like 4th and 2nd.
We're livable, but there were some interesting contradictions in that. For example, we scored 100 points for health and the provision of health. And nobody mentioned ramping.
I was just about to say, you just said before, no, but the ramping hasn't been fixed.
No, it hasn't been fixed. But for some reason, we scored extremely well there. But let's not look a gift horse in the mouth.
If it's coming through the media, you can't really believe it. That's what they want you to believe, that we're doing really well with health, so you vote in the government again. Yeah.
Do you believe in the media?
Let's have a little laugh, shall we?
Yes.
Too much left-wing stuff going on there.
Yeah.
I get my media from various sources, but not from mainstream media.
Why do you think the media went left-wing?
That's a very good question. Who knows? I don't know what they teach them at university. I don't know why they're so left radical.
Woke.
So woke. Don't talk to me about wokeism.
Yes.
Just don't want to go there.
No, it gets up my nose as well.
But I have to say, I'm very, very happy having lived in Adelaide for 40 years. I'm a Sydney girl, and I think Adelaide's got so much to offer.
Well, you must have come about the same time I did. I came in 76.
Right. We came in 84.
Okay.
I just came 7 months pregnant.
Right. When we came, Kari, my first wife, was pregnant with Saxon. I remember that very well.
I found a midwife. I went underground.
You found a midwife?
Because I'm a renegade nurse. And I didn't...
But you don't trust doctors or you don't trust hospitals?
Well, it's more so I didn't want a man telling me when to push.
No.
So I found myself a midwife, and it was delightful. It was a wonderful home experience. I recommend it to anyone who ticks all the boxes for health.
You're taking a responsibility, though, aren't you? If something goes wrong...
Yeah, well, that's my problem. I paid the woman. I paid the woman to worry. I paid the woman to make it happen. And it happened. I mean, midwives know a lot more. I mean, doctors are too busy on the golf course.
Yeah, say it again.
Husband free?
Was the husband there?
Oh, absolutely, the whole 9 hours. Yes, he thoroughly enjoyed it. And then she said, he just swam out and he became a swimmer. So she prophesied over my son.
You hear that, Stephen? A swimmer. That's maybe how it happened to you.
Yeah, he definitely swam out. So I've loved Adelaide. I would never think that I'd ever say that because I came here kicking and screaming. I thought there was no form of life outside of Sydney. I was such a Sydney-centric girl.
We were brought up to think that.
That's right.
It was a popular
and I
way to
believed
think.
it. I believed it with every fibre in my being.
We had a Prime Minister, Paul Keating, who said, if you're not living in Sydney, you're camping out. Remember that?
Excuse me?
Yeah, that's what I said.
So I came with my husband, who was made a job offer, and I changed careers quickly from being a registered nurse in New South Wales. I flipped into public relations, got me out of shift work.
Yes.
And then I moved on into a whole range of things.
Who did you work for? For yourself, or did you set up a business?
No, I worked for local government, for the Mayor of Salisbury for 3 years.
Yeah.
I wrote her speeches. I don't know why, but she read every word without even reading it before. She just trusted me. It was amazing.
I sometimes wonder why these people have speechwriters. Because, you'd vote for the speechwriter, you wouldn't vote for the...
Exactly. Have you heard of... I don't know about this, but Barack Obama's speechwriter, I think his name is Cody Martin?
Oh, no, don't know.
But he's a very good speechwriter. It's not necessarily content, one of his speeches that I necessarily agree with, but the calibre of the level of writing is definitely good, but yeah.
Yeah, they even have speechwriters who provide the one-liners for the quick...
the grabs.
Yeah,
you need them. They're very creative, very important. Yeah. So then I moved on into defence. I worked in defence for 7 years.
Oh, so did Tony.
Oh, yeah. Science, technology.
Yes, yeah. I was with British Aerospace.
Oh, well, no, you're the other side. So,
Good or bad?
So that was 7 years' experience, most enjoyable, working with mostly males, engineers and scientists, and that was fine by me. But they're in their own little world. That was interesting. They do a great job, I have to say. And then I launched with my husband into the charity that we formed in 94.
And this is the Second Chances.
Yeah, but that's a breakaway from the first charity. We belong to a national movement who wanted to pretty much bring in what they call, the dirty word, restructuring.
Oh, yes.
So they brought that word in and immediately my back was up. So after 20 years with that organisation, we decoupled. That's the fancy...
Decoupled?
Yeah, that's the fancy word for divorce.
Oh, right.
And so we decoupled, and just like you unhook a train...
Yes.
Its carriages, we decoupled and then became an exclusive South Australian charity called Second Chances SA.
Right. It's an intriguing name, Second Chances. We all need second chances. Sometimes third and fourth. Sometimes.
Yes, so my husband was passionate because he had many life's experiences.
Good and bad, I guess.
Oh, yes. Well, all self-inflicted, in fact. But he made the headlines. He made Rupert Murdoch rich.
Tell me, broadly speaking, what were the headlines about?
About his naughtiness. And so...
ladies love outlaws, you know that.
Maybe that's why I was drawn to him. But he took a one-way ticket to Rio.
They often do.
Yeah. So that kind of, raised the alarm, but nobody found him. Nobody knew where he was. He just disappeared. It was a terrible, terrible time under the days of Gough Whitlam where the mint didn't stop. It was 24/7 and interest rates for him were up around 24%.
Yes, I know.
So when people talk about 4% and they complain, I think,
often said it.
Get a grip.
Yes, I know. And it was about the same level of interest rate when we had the recession we had to have. That was the Keating one. It was stage 2.
Well, in the year that my husband was naughty, in other words, that he was filthy rich, he owned half of King's Cross.
Well, is that why he was filthy rich, because he was naughty?
No.
Oh.
He was trusted as a lawyer to invest. And the interest rates were outrageous and he I think, overextended himself, as some people do.
Did you hear my lawyer joke?
No.
What's the difference between a lawyer and a rat? There are some things that a rat just won't do.
Okay.
All right, sorry.
As you can appreciate, the temptation to dip into your trust account is always there.
Oh, I wish I had one of those.
And that was so naughty. And so he dipped into it to survive.
Yeah.
But it was just too much. Now, I have to say, I need to clarify that I had never met him before all of this. He was the family lawyer. But I hadn't met him. I wanted nothing to do with him. I was a self-righteous religious git that kind of said I want nothing to do with an international criminal. But my father was determined to bring him out of prison to reunite back with his...
So he actually went to jail?
Oh, yes, in Rio and in New South Wales.
Right.
So in Rio, he was in a large bathroom with about 14 other men. And it was horrific, a handful of black beans, a handful of rice. That was the meal for the day. And
they don't break the law in Rio.
No, that's right. Well, what they do is they try and hang on to you for as long as possible in the hope that you will bring funds in to bribe your way out, which of course is what Ronnie Biggs did, but nobody remembers who he is.
Oh, he's the great train robber.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're old enough to remember.
Oh, I'm old enough to remember everything,
Yes.
sadly.
So he was held there, and the Australian government wasn't much better in the sense that both Australia it really wanted him as a political pawn to get an extradition treaty. Now, to this day, there is still no extradition treaty between Australia and Brazil, which means that if you wanted to run away, for whatever reason...
I often do.
Yeah. So, there's no extradition treaty to bring you back.
I'll remember that.
Very useful if you ever want to rob your favourite department store. Go to Brazil.
What is your favourite department store?
Oh, Pacific Fair, because it has all of it.
Pacific what?
Pacific Fair in Queensland. It's
Gold
like
Coast. I've seen.
in the Gold Coast. It's like the bigger and better version of Rundle Mall.
It's getting bigger.
Oh.
Yes.
I've led a very sheltered life. I don't hardly ever go
The
shopping.
Gold Coast, when you said about, I'm like thinking that if you weren't living in anywhere else other than like Sydney, that you were camping out, that kind of thing. I used to feel the same way about Queensland because I was born up there. And then when we moved down, I was like, I don't want to move. I was 3, but I still remember my parents putting out the for sale sign. I was absolutely devastated. I loved my tropical lifestyle, but then we got moved down here and I made a lot of friends wouldn't have met. But
At 3, I'll bet you were very precocious.
excuse me. No, I wasn't. I'd like to think not. I did like enjoying like games with the older kids though, and making sure everyone was doing the right thing in the checker on the giant like life-sized checkers board. But
Yeah.
at the cafe, but yes.
Helen, did you have children?
Yes, 2 beautiful sons,
Uh-huh.
South Australians, and they go barrack for the Crows.
Oh, good.
Yes. So one is 40, one is 36.
Yeah.
My eldest son is an extremely responsible warehouse manager for Bickford's Australia.
Oh, good.
An
good,
iconic company here.
Wonderful
in
company.
South Australia.
Yeah.
He's been with them for 18 years. They love him. He packs up these B-doubles with product to Woolworths and Coles.
God bless him.
Yes, but my baby, who's 6'3", is a drama teacher at a very toffy Sydney school.
Oh, good.
And he loves it. They love him. They
Which
call
school?
him Queenwood.
Oh, yes.
They call him Mr. G. And so he's already done the 3 tours of New York and LA with his drama students.
Wonderful.
As you do.
Wonderful.
And he has to be there like the chaperone. But no, he loves life. And I'm now on my own and adjusting because we have seasons in life.
Well, when I met you the other night, or for the second time the other night, you reminded me a lot of a broadcaster that was very big in Sydney. You might remember Andrea.
Yes, you said. Yeah. I don't remember her, but...
Well, no, she was around late 50s, I guess, on 2GB, and she was outrageous. I mean, for the time, she was absolutely outrageous. She said things that, management didn't understand, but were prepared to tolerate because the ratings were through the roof. And she would have been one of the great female broadcasters at the same time as Jack Davey was around.
Okay.
She was doing for women what Jack Davey did for men in terms of radio stardom. I can't imagine why you don't have your own radio show. You'd be fantastic.
Okay.
I'll try to fix it.
Good.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
I'll hold you to it,
Yeah, that's good. Tell me how Second Chances works.
Second Chances SA is a charity dedicated to helping, in particular, the children of prisoners. Not their crime, not their fault. We don't get to choose our parents, and sometimes we don't really understand. As a woman from a middle-class home, I had absolutely no comprehension that there were parents who actually encourage their children to lie. I just thought every mum and dad in Australia told their children, you must tell the truth.
Yes, that's right, isn't it, Isabella?
Yeah, I would have grown up. When I was younger, I definitely grew up in that experience where it was like, must be honest, like those upright citizen values. But as you grow older, you start to see the world around you as you experience more things, and you realise not all kids are as fortunate to grow up with that kind of upbringing.
Well, I would never have sent my children to school without a packed lunch. I would never have thought about them going to school without breakfast. never would I have allowed them to go to a school camp without a packed bag with everything they needed. So what we have here are parents who, there may be one parent in prison, mum's at home, the sole caregiver, but she also has a drug issue and she needs to feed that. She feeds that in preference to caring for her children. And so, again, not their crime, not their fault, but also we don't choose our parents. And the worst part about this particular cohort is that they don't live in a home where somebody under that roof actually gets up and goes to work. Yes. And so they presume that the dole is my pay. Yeah. Rather than, so granddad and dad, they just lounged around and collected the dole. And so we've tried to break that cycle, that pattern. Yeah. And when we've had project funding, we have encouraged these kids to get those little stepping stones of a barista course, first aid course, get their driver's license so they're driving legally. It's so important because they don't have necessarily a responsible adult in their life.
No.
And you probably did. I certainly did. And when I look back at the way I was raised, I was taught to tell the truth.
One of my favourite sayings is, as the twig is bent, so shall grow the tree.
Yes.
And it is so true.
Yes, indeed. But we can rescue these kids and help them rethink. We don't disrespect their parents, but we do give them choices. So
how do you rescue them without exposing yourself to stealing them? Another stolen generation.
Well, it's a gentle relationship process where we work with the caregiver, and that can also be a grandparent. But often the school will call us in. The wellbeing officer will call us in and say, look, we've just found out Johnny his father has just gone to prison, he's playing up, his grades are going down, he's really acting out. Can you come and help? And that's where we move in because we're invited.
And how do you help?
We help them by encouraging them to work towards finishing school, not truanting. Truanting is the beginning of the downslide.
Yep,
we
I agree with that.
Talk to them about how significant their talents are and their gifts, and they don't have to give up. And they don't have to associate with other kids that are not doing the right thing, and to choose friends wisely. So we check up on them. You make a promise to yourself to go to school tomorrow. Yes, well, we'll check up on you too. So we take them out for a coffee or an ice cream or down the beach just to make them feel significant.
You're an absolute saint. Somebody should. Have you been nominated for an Australian award, Order of Australia?
No.
Well, you bloody well should be.
Go right ahead.
Okay, all right. No, you really should be.
Get on that.
Well,
I think we should definitely get on that. Yeah.
I have to say I'm not on the front line. I'm talking to you about what our staff do.
But it's your concept. It's your baby.
That's right.
What's your success rate like?
Oh, it's pretty high with the kids that we work with because they feel that they, are accepted, they belong and they have value. And that's my MO in life. You need A, B and V. We all need A, B and V. That's why people go to Rotary.
What's A, B and V?
Acceptance, belonging and value. Right. And so
I'll make it.
It's the acceptance, belonging and value of life. So I call it the ABCs, but the ABVs, same. And, that's why people join a Rotary Club or because they know that they're accepted, they belong and they have value, or a tennis club or a church group or a youth group or whatever, because right there they get those and they don't even know it. They don't know that they're going there because you've accepted me. I feel I belong. And yes, I've got value because I'm adding and I'm received. So every human being on this planet needs that.
Who taught you to talk?
I don't know.
They did a very good job, whoever it was. But, because you go around as a public speaker as well as everything else, don't you?
Oh, I do try. If they'll listen, I love public speaking.
Why?
I don't know. I like to move people emotionally. I love to introduce concepts that they're completely ignorant of. They have no idea. But if I can awaken them, if I can stir them, if I can cause them to realise, wow, we had no idea of that.
Do you have any fears?
No.
The greatest fear of all, if you could categorise them, you've got fear of heights, fear of spiders, fear of
missing out.
Yeah, fear of missing out. Very good.
I think that would be the number one fear of the teenage girl or boy.
All right, yeah. Fear of missing out.
FOMO.
FOMO,
Yes.
yeah. The greatest fear of all is the fear of public speaking.
Yeah, I keep getting told that.
The business of standing up in front of people terrifies people.
Yes, well, if I'm prepared, if I know the audience and I know what I'm trying to achieve, I go in and I love it.
Because some of the things that post-traumatic growth, you talk about post-traumatic growth. What is that?
Well, just to background you there, my husband and I suffered some trauma because we were one of the 90 victims of the Cuddly Creek fires where we lost everything.
Oh, wow.
And everything we'd worked hard for was completely destroyed in December 2019. And when you go down the road, we had a beautiful 25-acre property in Kenton Valley.
Lovely.
And it was razed to the ground along with 500 bales of hay. We were primary producers, little hobby farmers. We had 7 Herefords in a corner, but all their feed had been destroyed. The internal and external fences, they escaped. Fortunately, they found somebody else's grass and water, and we found them. But, you know, when you go there and you see everything completely razed to the ground and blackened, these jewels in this ring are the only jewels
I was looking at them.
that were found. There's a garnet in the middle where my husband and I went to Hong Kong and bought it. There's a couple of diamonds from his auntie's ring. The rubies are mine from a ring. They were all twisted and blackened and they were horrible and ugly. And they found a Pandora bracelet that my son had given to me back in 2014. It was completely blackened. But, you know, the thing that was reinforced into us was that when we go, we take absolutely nothing with us.
That's true, isn't it?
It's just our joy, it's our love, it's who we are. And so as much as we worked so hard for that beautiful homestead with the red roof and the turnposts and the lacework and that kind of typical South Australian coins on the you guys have got the best houses.
Could you rebuild? Did you want to rebuild?
I did initially, but then we thought, no, we think it was a sign to move on to a next chapter. So we did something absolutely and completely different. We bought a houseboat.
Okay.
That sounds fun.
Yes, and we called it Eternity because my husband would often talk to me and write in cards saying, love you to eternity. And so we called it to Eternity. And his oncologist said, go to your happy place. And that's where he died. And that was a very peaceful time. And so at the funeral, it was stated that he died on eternity to go to eternity. So, yeah, it was a special time. That was 3 years ago.
People don't really cope with trauma terribly well. We're not trained.
No, that's right.
At school, do they ever say to you, life is going to be full of crises and you're going to have to cope with
Again, they send
trauma.
us out into the world naively. They don't teach. They teach us about how to deal with friendships, and it's very condescending in the way they bring it up. Whenever they teach you about emotional regulation, it's like they're teaching it to a 5-year-old. They don't treat us with like emotional intelligence. Therefore, we fall into a slump.
Well, they should be preparing
Exactly. And I think what they need to teach us is that the most important things in life aren't the material things. It's the people you surround yourself with. You are a representation of your friends. So it's why Don May said it's the people around you will help you in life and you'll also help them, and that's why it's so important. Having love in your life and making sure that you have those things and not material things, because no amount of, followers on Instagram or all those kind of things or collector's items, even though they are important in this world, if you can take them with you even after you die, I think you've lived a full life.
Yeah. Do you know she's 13?
Yes.
It's amazing.
She's not.
She's 13
She's
years
13
old.
going on 23.
Yes.
So I teach...
An old soul.
Yes, I teach MAP. MAP stands for maintain the things that brought you joy, like before the trauma. Because we know that when there's a fire and everything's destroyed, there'll always be beautiful new green growth comes
Funny,
through.
isn't it? Yeah.
Always. It's guaranteed.
Renewal.
Yeah. And our Indigenous people knew that too. Yeah. And that's why they did the backburning. And that's why they knew they could get the new green growth. And we can actually develop new green growth after the pain and after the time, a period of time. But those things that if you belong to a bridge club, if you did swimming, whatever you did, which brought you joy, don't drop it. Keep doing those things. And then accept the fact that this has happened. It takes a while to accept, but then you plan. And I can tell you, our hope could be as simple as having coffee with a friend next week. So you plan events, you plan encounters, you plan meetings with people that you know really love and accept you, but you've got to plan. And if you don't plan, you can actually go back.
I like this, some of the things you talk about, apart from post-traumatic growth. How to become unshakable, unbreakable and unstoppable.
Yes.
I like that.
Look, I think that we need to be taught these things at school. I wasn't, no one is, but there comes a place where if you think you're going to be flattened down, no, you don't accept it. Everything, the battle is always in the mind.
Yeah.
Our life is determined about how we think. So a man thinketh, so he is.
Yes, you are what you think about.
Correct. That's a proverb. So if our minds are trained, to withstand whatever comes against us, we will bounce back. We will be even stronger. I never thought I'd get to this place, but I think we can be.
And how do people react, and what's the sort of response you get?
I think they're a little bit gobsmacked. It takes a while because this stuff doesn't come to you overnight.
No.
This is a way of life. This is a way of thinking. This is a way of developing your own mind to achieve that unshakable position.
Unshakable, yeah. Would help to be stubborn, though, wouldn't it?
To a degree, yes. But the whole world's being shaken.
Yep.
We're all being shaken. Politics is just being shaken. Middle East is being shaken. There isn't anything on this planet. There's nothing on this planet that isn't being shaken. And therefore, we must know who we are. We must know what we believe. We must stand strong on our values. And if we don't have those strong values to stand on, we will be knocked off very easily. Yeah. And a lot of people don't have values. I'm a little different maybe because I have a strong faith. So my acceptance, belonging and value actually goes vertical, not just...
So this is a belief in God. Is it a particular brand of God? Or
I think there's only one God and I think there's only one brand, the kingdom. But, you've got to get down to the little red bits in the New Testament where Jesus is talking. Yeah. I think man has created all those other flavours. I think if we just keep it simple... Yes. I think the problem with the gospel is it's so simple people can't believe it. It's just too simple. But, that's where my feet stand. Yeah. That's where my core is. Yeah. And I found it to make me strong.
And you using that strength to help other people, which I think is absolutely wonderful, which is why you should have an Order of Australia. Mm-hmm. Leave it with us, as they say. Can you stay with us?
Sure, if you want me.
Isabella, can you stay?
Yes.